ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the Steam Store. I'm Marshall, a community caster for Planetary Annihilation, the RTS where we play on planets. As you can see here, we're on a round planet, and our players are spawning in now. Here is, on the north spawn, in blue, we have Dreadnought, going for a vehicle factory to begin with. Now, the commander is the most important unit in the game. You lose it, you lose the game. You kill the enemy commander, you win the game. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. That's what you want to be focusing on doing. Now let's have a look down on the south. What is our other player doing? Down here, we can keep scrolling. You got Corgiarmy of the Myth clan, building bots and air factories. So instantly we can see a different type of factory being built across these two guys. Corgiarmy in yellow, going for bots, faster moving ground units, slightly less efficient as a result, but perhaps slightly better at raiding early game. And an air factory with a scout coming out. Meanwhile, Dread on the north, going for double vehicles, so slower, more efficient builders, etc. Now you'll notice, as I zoom in, my icons disappear. I don't have any icons. I can control things, see things very well. If you're used to StarCraft and Age of Empires, this is the sort of view that you'll be used to seeing. Excuse me. I can zoom out though. Gradually. Icons appear. And I can control from here, but I can zoom out more if I want to. See more of the battlefield at any one time. Amazing stuff. This game is designed to make itself as accessible as possible to RTS players, because we know that the third resource is attention. That being said, of course, I should probably introduce our other two resources. We've got metal and energy. And this is a streaming economy, so you don't stockpile stuff like in other RTSs, and it's like, okay, I've got 300 of this. I'm going to spend 50 to build one thing. No. You get an income and you expend over time, and you have to balance that income versus your expenditure. The more you spend, if you're not getting enough in, the slower you build, which is a bit of a problem for you, because if your opponent's not doing that, they're going to be building more than you, faster than you, and they're going to get an advantage as a result. So you want to try and balance your economy. Now, one of these little green dots around this map are all the metal sites where you can build all of these metal places to increase your metal resource, which goes straight into the building of stuff. Power, on the other hand, or energy, can be built anywhere, but equally, it's used for powering things. Losing either one of those will reduce your building capacity. Try and balance them. And of course, therefore, in raiding, you've got to try and kill off these things, these resource builders. Or, in this case, as we can see Dreadnought chasing down this builder with a striker here, kills off the builder unit, which is going to slow down Corgi, because Corgi would use that builder to build other stuff, expand his resource production. So that was a bit of a win for Dreadnought, a bit unfortunate for Corgi here. He's had to respond with similar stuff. Strikers coming over here, ready to go down into this crater to deal with this striker. In we go. Pat. And of course, this is all a simulated game as well, so you can duck and weave to dodge shots. There's no guaranteed hits here. Duck and weave and move around. All sorts of stuff. Well, there's a little bit of a lull in the game as well. You'll notice that different things have different shaped icons. As you get used to the game, you'll understand what these mean. So you've got building types and resource types, which is this sort of octagon shape. Then you've got vehicles, which is this sort of shape here. You've got air, which is your triangle, and your bots, which is your sort of upturned trapezium. And of course, on other maps, you also have the opportunity to build naval. This asteroid here doesn't have any water on it, so we're not going to be seeing any battleships or anything like that. But there's also the orbital space. If you zoom out far enough, you can get into the orbital layer and build orbital units. That'd be pretty cool if we saw that on this map. There's a lot of metal on this map, so Players could potentially get there, or certainly to the point that we build our other type of unit, which are our Titans. And there's also a couple of tiers of building, or technology tiers, if you will. There's no sort of researching technologies. What happens is you build your basic factories here with your commander. You've got T1 factories here. T1 or basic, interchangeable. You've got air, bots, vehicles. These guys produce respective builders, so vehicle factories produce vehicle fabricators, bot factories produce bot fabricators, air factories produce air factories, fabricators, and so on. Those respective fabricators can then build advanced, or T2, factories of that factory type, which will give you access to more advanced units, pack a bit of a bigger punch, slightly more nuanced in some of their unit roles, sort of up the ante of your army, make you a bit more of a fearsome foe. But then from those factories you can then get the advanced builder of that type, so the advanced bot fabricator, or the advanced vehicle fabricator, and so on. And those then can build an entirely new tranche of buildings, like nuclear missiles, or long-range artillery, unit cannons, or even planet-ending smashing engines. It's all sort of stepping up and upping the ante. And all of that, of course, is predicated on the fact that you've expanded your economy to be able to do so. What I said earlier about spending too much, in the top left we can see these numbers, green, red, blue. Corgiarmy in yellow is spending too much metal. So he's eaten into his reserves, depleted his reserves, his efficiency has plummeted as a result, and therefore all of his buildings, look, this tank should not be taking this long to build. It shouldn't. But that's because he's stalling on his metal and his energy now. So this is taking very long to build, much longer than it should do. Blue, however, is exactly the opposite. You're not spending enough. Your reserves are overflowing, which means that you could be building more. More. And that's the point of the game. You always want to be trying to build more. So if you're not spending enough, well, that means that you could be spending more. And if your opponent isn't floating or isn't wasting in these blue numbers, but has the same amount as you and just had a really good engagement or something like that and killed your army or something, then you're going to lose out because you could have more, but you just didn't build it when you had the opportunity. That's the point I'm trying to make. You get used to it over time. It is something to get used to. But, as I said, the game has a lot of methods to make these things much more accessible to you as a user. And I'll get on to area builds in just a second. Just have a look at a few of these battles that are going on, these little skirmishes. Corgi is trying to push up the centre. A few of Dreadnought's units are there to greet. Something of a cold reception. Corgi manages to overpower and just about push through. As I say, what you can do is area builds. Clicking and dragging on units, whether it's giving commands like patrol or build, you can draw these circles for some things. So here, what I could be doing as a player, unfortunately I'm spectating, but as a player, I could have told those units, okay, I want you to patrol, and then I drag this area out, and they then patrol in that area. And I can do that for a whole selection of units. Equally, if I had fabricators selected and I wanted them to build metal extractors, or these metal sites, I could draw that circle over a whole bunch of these metal sites here. Let it go, and those fabricators would then automatically set a queue for all of those metal extractors in that zone. So I didn't have to go click, 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 click on all of them, saving you a lot of micromanagement as a player. To focus on what you really should be focusing on, which is your strategy and your gameplay. There's other things as well. So you'll notice these P-gens are drawn in a line, power generators are in a line. That's another type of area build. Clicking and drag. Some things go in a line, some things go in a circle. Is optimum for the type of building that it is. So let's have a look around the actual map here and take stock of the battlefield now that I've explained all that stuff. So, yellow here, Corgiarmy, coming down into a crater to try and assault Dreadnought's position here. He's walled up. These walls are very, very strong indeed. Corgi, though, at the back, has a couple of arcing shots that can fire over the top. Dreadnought coming in with bombers, dealing with all of that army before it even gets to the wall. On the other side, we've got some turrets here to be able to hold this position. Dreadnought there really wants to hold this position, probably because of all the resources behind it in this sort of almost like a trench, if you will. But that was pretty potent right there. Pretty potent, to say the least. Same up here. This Air Force from Dreadnought is doing a really good job. Going off here, killing all of these building units, and then going to raid similarly elsewhere. There, of course, a lot of mobility. A lot of stuff going for it. As a result of the fact that it's just air. Meanwhile, though, you start to see a few advanced factories that I mentioned earlier coming up. So in this Air Force from Corgi, he's got advanced air here. We've got a few gunships. Advanced interceptor. Watch that gunship as it goes around and maybe does some raiding in that picture-in-picture. Right. Yeah, we're starting to see that next level of stuff. You'll also notice that the players in the top left there, Corgi has a lot more factories than Dreadnought at the moment. 19 to 12. Got all of these here. Vehicle factories. Counting them, bottom left there, 12 vehicle factories. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable scenes. As Dreadnought does not have as many factories. He's floating a lot. He could be building so much more, could Dreadnought. But as a result, he's got a smaller army count, got a smaller factory count, and that's not advisable, because he could be doing, as I say, so much more with that stuff. But he's losing out to Corgi because he's not. Simple, really. Trying to build these advanced factories, which will hopefully start spending those resources for him. And he's just got to hope that that's the thing. Be careful with those gunships, Corgi. Don't leave them out in the open. Here we go. Pop, pop, pop. Don't let Dreadnought get some free kills on those. Bit of a bad bit of micromanagement there from Corgi. Left those gunships completely wide open. And they've got to go home with their tail between their legs. Go! Go back there. It gives Dreadnought a bit of an opportunity here, actually, to get into that advanced air, the advanced interceptors, slightly stronger interceptors. If he keeps building those, he'll be able to win the air supremacy back from Corgi. Corgi, though, responding. Loads of air factories coming up. He sees the increased attempt at air units from Dreadnought, and he says, not on my watch. So he's just going to keep building more to try and deal with that. Okay, so soft and hard counters there. And of course, he's able to think about all of that, because not only is he doing all of this stuff here, but he's thinking, okay, I'm going to use the area command. What he did, you saw earlier, was a whole line of factories appeared. That would have been one command, rather than a series of clicks. That would have been one command that did that. Got to be careful of Corgi, though. He's using his favourite tactic. He's got, just some regular tanks and some transport aircraft here. It's to keep them alive. You can drop this army, this strong army of advanced tanks, straight inside Dreadnought's base here. There's a big old air coverage gap. If he can drop them right here, that will be a massive win for him, and possibly even seal the game, because of course, as I said earlier, you kill the commander, that's it. He's just got to do it here. In comes the defending air force from Dreadnought. He does it. He's managed to drop a few. He didn't manage to drop all of them, but there's a few in there now. 4 of these advanced tanks already firing on that commander. Probably won't be able to kill him here. The commander hightailing it behind the building as cover. But that would have scared Dreadnought, because now Corgi's tactics are on full display here. And he might not use the same units twice. Of course, there are other advanced vehicles. Of vanguards that are radar jammers. Corgi's doing a lot with these dropships here. He's got a couple of builders in there as well as tanks this time. Possibly thinking of going and securing a teleporter maybe in a different position. Has he built one in his base? Can we see that sort of a tactic appearing? Doesn't look like it so far, but it might just happen. Where have they gone? Aha, here we go, look. Flipping that radar down, you can see the coverage of it. It's a good place for a pelter here inside this crater. It fires out of it. But look at this here. Great drop of tanks, and they're going to take out this advanced factory. That is unbelievable. Advanced factories are very, very valuable in PA. Losing one like that is not good news, and Dreadnought is not going to be happy about that. Look at all of these units now that are rerouting to deal with these tanks. He is not a happy cookie right now. And because they're advanced tanks, they have a bit better armor as well, so it takes more to kill them. Look at this. Look at all of that they're weathering. All of that damage. And again, another drop from Corgi, keeping up the pressure in so many different locations, keeping Dreadnought guessing. Really good play here from Corgi. Really, really good play. Taken out another couple of factories. Dreadnought now starting to fall behind in the economy game. He's not building as much in the way of metal there. Corgi responding, saying, I'm going to get another advanced air factory, and so he's going to. Trying to win back that air supremacy that Dreadnought has managed to equalise. Look at this. They have a little bit of a scrap in the skies. Both survive, both weakened, and both go their separate ways. So currently no one has air superiority. Corgi is trying to deal with that. In comes Dread with a few gunships now. Not a lot of anti-air in this force, in fact none. Zero. Nada. So it comes into Corgi to suicide his air just to take out those gunships from Dreadnought. I mean, it works. You probably could have done a slightly better micro, but it worked. And that's the key here. These strikers leading the charge, trying to get in under the arcs of these grenadiers, but unfortunately they meet with staunch tank resistance, so they get completely repulsed. Sitting inside the crater, though, is a bit of an advantage for the defenders of the said crater. As Dreadnought's units round over the crest, start taking damage. But now Corgi has to deal with walls and turrets. It's got to get past the wall to do the damage, because the walls are pretty sturdy things. And here we go. Starting to take down that turret. There are a few bits of metal here to kill off and expand. There's some artillery emplacements. Try and deal with, of course, the closer you get, the more artillery struggles with dealing with you. But down it goes. That was a lot of army used for that one proxy death, but I think it worked. What's going on elsewhere? Corgi here with another army has pushed into the main base of Dreadnought here. Look at all of that charred remains on the floor. You can reclaim that wreckage, by the way, for a little bit of extra resource boost. But where's Dreadnought's commander? It's sat here in the base. Maybe he's giving in the town. Let's have a look. As we round, you can see in the top left, Dreadnought's army count down to 40 compared to Corgi's 200. Corgi has completely smited Dreadnought in this game. Dreadnought here is going to attempt an Uber Cannon to just try and stay in the game. There it is, the commander's signature weapon. It's bought him a little bit of time, but honestly, his economy is half that of Corgi, more or less. And his army is not there, and his factories are not there. So, What can he really do here? Not a lot. What's Corgi doing next? More advanced factories, more expansion, and this is what PA is about, that exponential growth. Denying your opponents that expansion, those resources. Finding the ways to deal with what they throw at you, anticipate it, counter it, and exploit it. And then, of course, kill their commander unit. Dreadnought's making Corgi work for this one, though. He's not giving in the ghost, even though he must know, it's a sure defeat. He must know, but he is taunting his opponent, saying, no, you, my friend, can come to me. You want the victory, you make it happen. So here we are. All the way down here, just watching the commander. Gradually assisting a factory, making it build a little faster. But as the armies now encroach, there's not a lot that he is able to do other than see those armies and wonder where it all went wrong. Where did it go wrong? The answer is, I don't think it was Dreadnought's fault. I think he just got outplayed there. Completely. Corgi had him over a barrel most of the time. Dropping the units everywhere kept Dreadnought guessing. And it just led to the game.